Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the frustrating book tag. I was tagged by my bookish friend Bethanne, so I will go ahead and leave her channel down below. Make sure you check it out. This tag consists of 10 questions, but before we go ahead and get on into the questions, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new bookish content. I post new videos every Saturday, every Wednesday, and every Monday, and sometimes bonus videos in the middle of the week. Also, don't forget to check down in the description box for links to my social media, my Discord, and my Patreon. Question 1 is to name a book that you predicted would be 5 stars but actually wasn't. And I don't usually do like 5-star predictions because I feel like those are really hard to do, but I am going to mention 2 books that I thought that I would really like and didn't like at all. And the first one is Middle Game by Seanan McGuire. This is like a sci-fi fantasy that has really like philosophical elements, and it sounded really cool. It has really good reviews, and I did not like this book at all. It was like 500 pages, and when I was done reading it, I was so mad that I had wasted my time reading it because I kept thinking this book is going to get better. Something's going to happen with these characters. It's not going to just be like following their lives for half the book. These characters are going to be awesome. This whole, ending and conflict is going to be awesome. And it just like didn't pay off. Our villain was like cartoony. The overcoming the antagonist at the end just happened like way too quickly. And all the cool like fantasy sci-fi stuff I thought could have happened or would have happened just didn't. And it was just a big letdown. I ended up giving it 1 out of 5 stars. And then the other one is Semiosis. This one I read in January, and I thought that I was going to love it. The concept is all about humans who have left Earth. They colonize this new planet, and this planet has sentient plants that kind of become part of the society. And I just found that concept incredibly cool. But like the book was so boring. So boring. The characters were so flat, undeveloped, and even the whole cool sentient plant thing was not even as cool as it could have been. We followed one plant, just one in this whole planet, and it was just, oh gosh, it was so boring. And nothing about it was gripping, and we ended up following this like alien race on this planet and like what's going on with them and the humans rather than like these evil plants and the humans. And just I felt like it was the book was advertised as one thing, and like that one thing that was interesting to me just like didn't pay off. And I don't have a whole review for this, but during my January wrap up I did kind of like rant on this book, and I didn't mean to, and like that part of the wrap up just went way longer than I meant to, so I'll link it up in the cards if you want to watch it. But definitely a disappointing book, and I also gave that one 1 out of 5 stars. Question 2 is to name a book that had a great beginning but a not so great ending. And immediately I thought of series that had like really bad final books in a series, and I immediately thought of The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. This is book 4 of the Raven cycle. And this book wasn't horrible. Like, this is one of my favorite YA series of all time, but I just felt like this book was really weak because we spent the first 3 books developing this plot line of finding the Raven King, and Gandy's going through all of these things to uncover this mystery. And then book 3, what they uncover, and then we get to book 4, and it's just kind of like, meh, this is what happens. And it was so anticlimactic to like build up to this final book and then just kind of be like, meh, this is what happens. So I do like this series. It wasn't the worst finale I've ever read, but it definitely was disappointing when compared to the other 3 books and kind of what they were building up to. Question 3 is to name a book that has a pretty cover but an ugly spine. And I actually don't think I have an answer for this. I feel like all of the spines, when the designer is making the book cover, they, make it so that it matches the cover with regards to the font and colors and sometimes images. So I don't really have anything. I'm like looking around my bookshelves. I don't really have anything with an ugly spine but a pretty cover. I will say that some of my books have broken spines, which drives me nuts. For example, The Night Parade by Ronald Moffey. I really hate when the spine cracks with the mass market paperbacks, but I mean, other than that, I don't really think I have any ugly spines. Question 3 is, do you have a book series that doesn't match? And that's pretty much my entire library. Is there a book from your youth that you remember parts of, but you can't remember the name or find it anywhere? And there is actually. There is this book that I read, and it followed this like young teenage boy as he was becoming a cowboy. And it wasn't like super childish, and it wasn't, super for kids. It was fairly serious. And it was just about him becoming a cowboy. And I remember reading it and reading about him having to be with these like older men to kind of learn from them. And they traveled around a lot, and just like how hard it was living out in the open. And like they drank a lot of coffee. And that's what I remember. And I have no idea what the name was or who wrote it or even what age group it was for. Question 6 is there a book that you are certain you've read but you can't remember anything about? And I'm going to go with Dune. I know I have read Dune. I read it about 10 years ago, but I honestly can remember nothing from this book other than the characters traveling to this planet that had no water and searching for this spice. That's all I remember. I remember nothing about the plot, nothing about the characters, nothing about the politics, and it is a book that I do plan on rereading this year, and I'm very excited because it'll be like reading a brand new book because I remember so little of it. Question number 7, have you ever recommended a book and the person you recommended it to didn't like it or started telling you all the things that they didn't like about it? And I don't think this has ever happened to me, but even if that did happen, I would respect their opinion because literature is so subjective, and I would actually find it really interesting to hear what they didn't like about it that I liked. I just find unpopular opinions or differing opinions so interesting. Question number 8 is what is your worst experience loaning a book to somebody? And that is definitely not getting the book back. I lent Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice to a coworker of mine several years ago, and that one I never got back. And then I have also loaned books to my mom that have come back with water damage. For example, my copy of Seeking Allah Finding Jesus by Nabil Qureshi, she spilt water on, and it doesn't actually look too bad. The pages are just a little bit ripply, but I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, there we go. There's the water damage. So my mom, spilled something on it, but she said she'd buy me another one, but it's no big deal. Question number 9 is what books have you bought as an impulse buy? And I think the most recent impulse buy I bought was this one, Do You Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I actually wasn't planning on buying this book, but I happened to be at Books A Million one day and they had it 50% off. And I was like, oh, it's really pretty and I do want to read it. I actually had a hold on it at my library, but I knew I was going to read it and it was 50% off, so I decided just to buy it because it was on sale. But if it was full price, then I probably wouldn't have bought it. And question number 10 is how many unread books do you have on your bookshelves? And I'm not even going to answer that. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to link my spreadsheet down below that lists out all of the unread books that I have on my bookshelves. It's how I keep track of them. And you guys can take a look for yourself, because if I admit it out loud to myself, then I'll have to admit that I have a book buying problem, and I don't want to do that. But check out the spreadsheet below and you can see for yourself how many unread books I actually have. All right, you guys, so that is it for the frustrating book tag. Thank you, Bethanne, for tagging me. Definitely check out her channel. Let me know in the comments some of the answers to these questions that you might have, and I will see y'all soon in another video. Goodbye.